Good morning, I'm Ferdi Salvador and welcome to Industry Beacon, where we shine a light on the trailblazers, the disruptors, and the leaders shaping our future. In each episode, we'll explore how they're staying ahead in their fields, one industry at a time. This morning, we talk about the vibrant art and auction scene here in the Philippines since it was established in 2010. Salcedo Auctions has become a key player in the Philippine art market. Starting with just 10 artworks, it has come a long way with pieces by national artists including Fernando Amorsolo, Botong Francisco, and Ang Kiukok, selling well, at times even breaking records. With us today is Richie Lerma, Chairman and Chief Specialist of Salcedo Auctions. Richie, good morning and thank you so much for joining us today.
Good morning, Ferdi. Thank you for having me.
Of course. I mean, we featured titans of industry and leaders in your industry, and you're one of them. So tell me, how did you start Salcedo Auctions?
Well, I've been in the arts for close to 3 decades already. First in the academe, and then we made the move to entrepreneurship in 2010. The idea really started with, well, primarily exposure. And then there was a time my wife Karen and I, our co-founder, we spent time in Australia. And as you know, we spend a lot of time there. And that was when we first truly got to experience auctions on a regular basis, having been based
popular around the world, in fact.
It certainly is. And when it comes to valuable collectibles, that's how they would move these pieces. And so Karen and I thought, hey, this is something that I think they would enjoy in the Philippines. A lot of people are quite surprised that we had no fine art auction industry to speak of, even
in the past.
Correct, 15
zero.
years ago. I mean, there were smaller auctions that were being done by people in the arts, but it wasn't set up the way that we had envisioned that it would be to be ultimately a world-class auction
Right,
house.
so how people would move their pieces would be through galleries or like private agents and stuff like that.
So there was no mechanism for that, which was really like the epiphany, I think, which led us to start this. But a lot of people are also quite surprised as well. I mean, when we started Salcedo Auctions, it was really with just this idea and really the passion and the drive to do it. In terms of like business plans whatsoever, we didn't start it the traditional way. We just really believed in it so much.
So you just
we dove into it.
You jumped the cliff, dove in, and then opened. I mean, I've seen the progress of your auction house. I mean, from where you were originally, it was a little, how should we say, cozy, and now you've got a bigger space, which is a gallery as well. That serves as a gallery. How do you, as a person that may have items that I want to pass on or liquidate, let's say. I mean, let's call it spade a spade, right? But how do you guys gain trust from, an owner to put their valuables in your auction house?
Well, I think our track record has been key in being able to gain that trust. But I think from the very beginning, and I think that was one of the most important factors that enabled us to start Salcedo Auctions. Of course, my experience in the academe, having been the director of the first modern art museum in the Philippines, having been, an art critic, undertaken scholarship in the arts as well. So that gave people that trust. When they bring pieces to me, they would, I guess, honor the opinion that I would give. If I thought that something was valuable, they would listen, and if it was not, then they would, simply walk away from it. And so,
but please educate us, because in the Philippines, obviously, there's only a small group of people that know about auctions. Right? Do you specialize in a particular field? Let's say some like Sotheby's and Christie's, they've got certain auction schedules only dedicated to art pieces.
Correct.
Then they've got one just for jewelry. Or even timepieces, cars, even houses, right? What's your specialty?
Well, primarily it's Philippine art. I mean, we did pioneer the category called important Philippine art, and that has always been really a marquee sale for us. I mean, of course, when you make that value judgment about something being important, people would, of course, wonder what is the criterion for calling something important. And it did help having that, that academic background, that long history that I've had personally with art to say, ultimately, Salcedo says it's important, and it's really our role to be able to bring that forward and to essentially allow people to understand what underscores that importance.
What's the obviously we know what the difference is between a gallery. Let's
Yes.
talk about art
Yes.
pieces. That you can hang on a wall,
Right.
basically, or put on your table. How does that differ from other art pieces that you might, what's the difference between a gallery and an auction
Okay,
house?
so the gallery deals primarily with with the primary market, which is that the gallery deals directly with the artist. So when they bring artworks to the market, it's from the artist's studio to the art buying public. Auction houses deal with the secondary market, and that is you're working with collectors, estates as well, those that have acquired these pieces and over time have decided that it's time for them to let go for various reasons.
Talking about that, letting go.
Yep.
How does one approach an auction house such as yours and say, hey, look, I'd like to, we don't have an attachment to this
Sure.
piece. How do they go to you and how do you deal with that?
Well, they give us a call or send an email to info@salcedoauctions.com basically saying, we'd like to unload these pieces. We start off with photographs, we start off with certain details regarding the artworks. That goes to our specialists that gives an opinion regarding the value of the pieces. Now,
Yeah, okay, that's important. I was
right.
going to ask you,
Yes.
how do you evaluate an item?
okay, that comes with, our long history has allowed us to build a database of prices for art, not just here, but overseas. Of course, Philippine art also being sold overseas, so we have access to that database.
Okay.
And so we're able to make that value call. Of course, there are other factors that come into play when it comes to giving an auction appraisal
Correct.
for the piece. Of course, the importance of the artist within that market.
Right.
And then later on, we're given the opportunity to see the piece in person. Then we check
That's the exciting part.
That's right.
Yeah.
So we check the condition of the piece. We also find out more about the history of the piece as well, and that adds
Right.
to the value. Of course, or the overall supply and demand of the art. It's also an important factor in terms of
Yeah,
determining
because it's
that
super
value.
vibrant. I mean,
is.
I do get catalogs from you,
Yeah.
and I skip a heartbeat. My heart skips a beat rather, because I'm like, oh my gosh, of course you can't buy everything, but
Yeah.
let's say,
Yes.
like this piece of paper is worth 100 pesos,
Correct.
right? How do you then value its starting bid price?
All right. Again, it goes with experience. You really look at
So there's no percentage. You just like, slash it to 50%. That's
Oh,
when
no,
we
no,
start.
not at all. I mean, of course, we always start with currently where does something like this sit in the market. You look at the the outcomes of these sales over time. And so that's one thing. And then you factor in the appearance of the piece, the subject matter, the condition. If it's something that's sought after now, perhaps its time had come, and perhaps now there's a bit of a lull in terms of that interest, or there's a growing interest in the piece. And so from all of that data, we go back to the prospective consignor and give a proposal.
Yeah.
And then if there's a meeting of minds, it
Then
goes
it's
to
a
auction.
go.
Yes, that's right.
But what's the most successful auction you've had in your history?
Well, we're celebrating 15 years next year.
Wow.
And so, of course, in all that time, I don't think, just conceivably, anything will top the boceto for Spoliarium. As you remember, the study for the country's most important painting.
We were on edge.
Yes, that's right. And so were we, of course.
because we were monitoring that.
Yes.
And it was tittle tattle
Absolutely.
for lunch, cocktails, dinner.
That's right.
That's the only thing people are talking
No,
about.
but that's the amazing
What was
thing
the hammer
about
price
it.
again?
That went it hammered at 63 million for a study, which is really amazing.
study.
It's a study. And then, of course, with the prior's premium, etc., it went to almost 70 million pesos. So that's the highest price for a one Luna to ever sell in the
Yes.
Philippines, and the second highest in the world. And so
Yeah.
that was an amazing outcome for a piece that was hanging in the apartment of this modest family in North Western Spain.
Well, folks, if you check out your walls, you might have a spolarium, valued at the same amount.
No, these were things that they had just simply acquired from a great aunt that had inherited it as well. And so they just simply admired it and took it with them, not knowing at that point what a valuable piece they had. They also owned the Felix Hidalgo La Pintura, which is continues to be the world record holder for a work by Hidalgo that sold for over 75 million.
I think we should. It's worth the trip to go to their home and see what else do you have
That's
here.
Right. I was wanting to see. Can I see your basement storage? I'm sure there might be something else
or your
there.
attic,
That's
perhaps.
right. Yeah. So a lot of these surprises have come to us, and that has been one of the most exciting facets of this work that we do.
All right, Richie, we're gonna take a quick break. Industry Beacon will be right back. Stay with us. We're back. You're still watching Industry Beacon here on BNC. Before we continue our chat with Richie Lerma, let's take a look at this piece of auction history. An artwork made by an AI robot has set a new record at Sotheby's digital art sale. The piece, titled AI God, sold for, wait for it, $1.3 million. It's a 7-foot-tall impressionistic portrait of the father of modern computing, Alan Turing. It's also the first time that a work by a humanoid robot was sold by a major auction house. That is just outstanding.
My artwork is a portrait of Alan Turing, the brilliant British mathematician who laid the foundation for modern computing and artificial intelligence. The portrait has a fractured and layered quality, reflecting our current fragmented and multifaceted worlds. History has shown that technological advances can lead to both positive and negative consequences for humanity. I agree with Turing and with the United Nations that we must keep working for AI to be used for good.
$1.3 million. That's wow, okay? I still can't get over it. But let's continue our conversation with Richie Lerma of Salcedo Auctions. Richie,
yes.
I want to ask your take on that auction.
Well, I think that art continues to, we continue to redefine what art means and who the creator of the work of art is. And I think that just speaks about where we are at, where the world is at. I mean, contemporary art is all about talking about the art of the now.
Correct.
I think that, that kind of result speaks to where people are at in terms of, seeing even the future.
And how they value,
correct,
obviously,
and where this could all go. So let's just say it's going to be an interesting future for art and auctions.
Yes,
well.
but what's also interesting about auctions, because I'm one of those people that I'm paddle happy, right?
We love to have you in the audience.
That's why I never go to your auctions, because I'm like, that's why I do it electronically.
Electronically, that's right. That's always good to a bit of self-control.
Right. But aside from art pieces, you also have a lot of furniture, jewelry.
Yes.
But what's interesting to me is the trend is bags.
Yeah, we've also been offering a lot of fashion as well. Vintage pieces have come back, and I think that also goes to, I think where people are at in terms of reusing, repurposing all of these, valuable objects, and that other, the succeeding generations find, the obvious merit in them. So they continue to hold their value, which is great.
Yeah, but I wouldn't be surprised anywhere. I mean, a $1.3 million humanoid art piece, hammered. Yeah. But what's interesting is also, of course, the apex of luxury houses and luxury bags, Hermes. Yes. I mean, their bags go for millions of dollars, just because there's diamonds on the and this is interesting. Why such interest?
Well, I think people still go look at, they value craftsmanship. They value, well, the rarity of the material, of course. They also value the provenance. Of course, the house, the history behind making these, accoutrements, as we call it. So people put value in that. And, the rarer the item, of course, the rarer the skin, etc., the more valuable it becomes, the more sought after it is.
Yes, but I like the fact that it's open season for anything valuable for the auction houses here. But what's more important is that you and your collaborators and the people in the industry, even okay, are putting Filipino art in the forefront of the, at least here in Southeast Asia, right? I mean, we're very popular in Hong Kong.
We are.
We're popular in Singapore, and live artists, artists are actually getting, the king's ransom for for their pieces, and maybe partially because of your help, right?
Well, when we started Salcedo Auctions, it was always with that view that, at the time, a lot of important Philippine artworks were going overseas to Hong Kong, to Singapore, to be collected interestingly enough, by Philippine collectors as well. And we didn't see why send it out there when you could offer those same pieces here.
Right.
And so that was the impetus behind Salcedo Auctions, and ultimately to become an international player as well for an art. For Philippine art is among the most valued genre within the Asia Pacific region, and so it was just the timing was right.
Do you think there's still space in the auction industry here in the Philippines for other houses to
Well,
open?
in any business, of course, there's always space. You create your space.
Right.
I mean, that's what's most important. Of course, that's a challenge for us that have been around for some time. We constantly redefine what auctions are, what we present, etc. So in a way, we've enjoyed that advantage of the history, and of course, having all the time to have built the trust, and that's also about building that legacy into the future. You'd also want to be able to look to something that you acquire now, that Salcedo will be around for the next century or so.
With
so
your children who are helping you out already, I'm very proud. But tell us, as a pioneer, I'm sure it makes you proud that other houses are following suit, right?
Well, it's always a joy to see that we have spawned this industry. So we take a lot of we take a lot of pleasure in seeing that, but it's also, of course, always it's a good challenge.
Anything upcoming special at the auction house?
Yes, which we have our next and final marquee auction of the year. It's called Under the Tree, the wish list.
I'm getting nervous.
We will make your holiday wishes come true.
Oh my gosh.
On the 23rd of November, that's a Saturday.
Yes.
So it's live and online. So it includes important Philippine art, works by the national artists, Kiukok, Jose Hoya, among all of the Arturo Luz, Manansala, among the national artists. And then you have furniture, you have the jewelry, you have the fashion.
So that's on the 23rd of November.
And live and online.
I already received your catalog. That's why I called you to come over.
Thank you. It was a good...
One last question. Yes. What is your biggest mistake?
I think that it was... I think in the beginning, when the space that we got, we felt that was enough. I think we spent quite a lot of time there. I think from the very beginning, it would have been good for us to already sort of like foresee where we would be going with the business. And I think there might have been some opportunities there that we could have taken advantage of that we weren't ready to take on just yet because we didn't have the space.
Don't worry, I don't think it was a mistake. Yeah.
But ultimately, we got there to 2019. We moved to our spanking quarters, our
more
HQ.
Modern spanking
That's
quarters.
right, and which allows us to show, a lot of contemporary art.
Yes.
Which we would never have been able to showcase in our old space in Salcedo.
Right.
So I think
that
I'm
was looking forward to seeing you. Okay, thank you so much, Richie, for coming.
Thank you, Ferdi, for having me.
And that is it for today's show. I'm Ferdi Salvador. Catch the Bilyonaryo News channel on Free TV channel 31 and on cable via Cignal channel 24. Thank you for watching the Bilyonaryo News channel always on top.